Hey, it's Kelly. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to my bathroom. So, tonight I want to start wrapping up 2024. We are getting to the end of the year. I cannot believe it. It has been a wild ride, lots of ups and downs. But as I shared in one of my previous skincare routine videos, talking about, my philosophy around well aging, I was talking about how this year really was transformative and pivotal for me, especially on my outlook. And so today I kind of wanted to continue that conversation, talking about how my skin has transformed in this year. There was some really big wins in my skincare, my personal skincare journey this year, and there were some big lessons as well. And everybody likes to wrap up the end of the year and talk about everything that they did. And I think it is important on that skincare journey to make sure that you are looking back and really acknowledging the progress that you have made. And also, maybe you had some failures this year, and really kind of taking that lesson with you into the new year so that you can kind of evolve your own skincare journey. So, tonight I'm going to be talking about some wins, some lessons, and about my skincare journey this year while I get completely unready. Moisturize this face because it is winter and it is chilly. So if you're so ready, give the video a big thumbs up and let's jump in. All right, pulling back my bangs and my hair. I had to put on this big heavy sweater. I am so cold today. I just cannot warm up. I even like we're set in the mood. I have like a little mug of little. It's actually pretty big. I have my mug of tea to keep me warm. I gotta chill and I just cannot shake it off. So I'm going to remove my makeup first. I'm going to use the Beauty of Joseon Radiance Balm Cleanser. And it's extra satisfying because I just opened up this cleansing balm. That was so great. Just getting that first little peel. I love it so much. Okay, and it feels really great to get this makeup off to my skin. It's been a really long day and it's pretty comfortable, but I can feel it starting to dry out. So it's really time to take this makeup off. So let's talk about wins. There's definitely been some big skincare wins for me personally this year. I think the biggest one for me was my switch from tretinoin to over-the-counter retinoids. Okay, getting a little water on there and emulsifying this cleansing balm. So in April of this year, I decided to stop using my tretinoin prescription. And there's a lot of reasons for it, but I realized I had been using tretinoin since early 2020. And while I had really liked what it had done for my skin, it was really difficult for me to keep reviewing the types of skincare products that I was starting to get interested in. It was really difficult for me to test them on my skin right alongside tretinoin. It was really tough on my sensitive skin. And I think it really solidified for me with the VT Riedel shot review, where I did get quite a bit of sensitivity and redness. And I still don't love that product. I've tried other versions of the Riedel that I do actually enjoy, but I just want to put that out there. Secret Riedel's still not my favorite, but that review really showed me hey, you're getting amplified sensitivity and kind of a bigger response to this product because of your tretinoin use. And that is helpful information in that review. But it really was something that showed me yeah, this is kind of, it got you this far, but now it might be holding you back as a skincare reviewer. And this is the La-Roche-Posay Lipikar AP Plus Wash. So that was my beginning motivation for us discontinuing tretinoin. And I actually, I didn't speak about it on my channel until the late summer, because I wasn't sure how it was going to go. I was really afraid because I knew it was one of the biggest players really in my skincare routine that was giving me some of the best results for not only, well aging and collagen stimulation, but also helping to keep my congestion down and helping to work on hyperpigmentation as well. All right, this is the Make Prem Essence Toner. I absolutely love this. So yeah, I went on this experiment. Most of that just went down my arm. So I'm gonna get a little bit more Okay, there we go. So yeah, I stopped tretinoin mostly as an experiment, and I did just like roll right into an over-the-counter retinoid. And the reason that I did that is because while I felt like the tretinoin was making my skin a little overly sensitive when I was combining it with all the other stuff I wanted to test and review and use and try and all of that, I did not feel that my skin was overly irritated at the time. So when I made the switch, I did decide to start using retinaldehyde. So it is one of the more potent over the counter retinoids that you can get. And so it made a lot of sense to me, just going in for my second layer here of toner. It made a lot of sense for me as a tretinoin user, taking a step down to transition into this version of retinoid. It's not really where I'd recommend you starting your journey if you've never used any retinoids. But for me, just kind of taking one step down, this was the ingredient that was what I needed. So I'm going to go in for the Haruharu Black Rice Probiotics Barrier Essence. And this is extremely rich and creamy and moisturizing and ah, to my skin. So I'm going to come back and talk about the retinaldehyde in a little bit, but I did want to mention I have just really completely overhauled my active routine this year, which is a really big win. You know, I'm using the retinaldehyde, but I'm also using glycolic acid, which I haven't used in a very long time, and I've had kind of like a difficult relationship with. And then also a separate azelaic acid, which I'm actually starting to think is time to discontinue because my retinaldehyde and glycolic acid are going so well. So I'll keep you updated on that. But for 2024, those three actives really took my skin to the next level. So I'm going to use the VT PDRN 100 essence, which also has a very rich, very milky, creamy type of texture, but it's very thick. It's not watery like at all. And so because the Haruharu essence does have a little bit more moisture and it's a little less wet, if you will, I'm going to use the La-Roche-Posay thermal water spray just to put a layer of just wetness, if you will, on my skin. And that really helps the PDRN essence spread and as well as absorb into the skin. This is a little bit of a trickier texture than what I normally talk about on my channel. So a little bit of misting really helps. So as I was saying, you know, I have definitely made some big leaps with my skin. You know, definitely I am noticing a lot less congestion and breakouts, and you probably are noticing it too. The retinaldehyde, I tried a few, some that were great, some that were not, but I ended up with the Paula's Choice retinaldehyde dual retinoid treatment. That was a really long name. You hear, I was like, wait, what is it called? Yes, the dual retinoid treatment. And the dual here, it is retinaldehyde, but there is also a novel version of adapalene, which is another type of retinoid. It is, it recently came to market for over the counter, but it is something that has mostly been available by prescription, and it's usually used for folks who do suffer with acne. It is, you know, something that helps with well aging and brightening, but it's just particularly good for acne prone skin. And I am prone to clogged pores, and that can sometimes turn into the inflamed acne. And so switching to that was really the secret sauce for me this year. It really transformed and changed my skin. It's just so much clearer. I just am not getting breakouts. And as I've shared, you know, when I talk about the product, using it longer term now over the last couple of months, the pimples that I do get are so much less inflamed. And so when I have less inflammation on my skin, I'm actually getting less hyperpigmentation because I'm so prone to that dark mark after acne. And so because I'm not like in this constant cycle of new hyperpigmentation, I'm actually making so much progress on my old hyperpigmentation using the retinaldehyde, but also the glycolic acid that I talked about, as well as the azelaic acid. All three of those have brightening properties to them. So I have so much less hyperpigmentation now than I did at the beginning of the year. And that is actually from stopping tretinoin and then going in with these three active ingredients, controlling the inflammation, which helps with the hyperpigmentation, which actually helps me see so much more results on my skin. And just texture and like just the quality, I feel like, of my skin has improved so much. That one choice, that one win that worked out, plus some smart actives in there, really made all the difference for me. So this is the Skin 1004 Probio-Cica Bakuchiol Eye Cream. And as you can see, it does have this applicator tip, but my tube is basically empty. And I love that the applicator actually screws off. And you have basically like this true eye cream tube then. So it's so much easier to squeeze out the last bits before you maybe cut it open and get some more out of it. So I was so delighted when I discovered that about this eye cream when I was getting towards the bottom, and it was so hard to squeeze out with that applicator. I just really loved that detail about this cream. So let's talk about lessons, right? Because those are the big wins. And it doesn't seem like a lot, but they were huge, you know what I'm saying, for my skin. You know, one of the biggest lessons, and something I've always believed, but I think is just like implanted itself even more for me and really proven to be true, is that, you know, the strongest and the highest percentage and the best is not always the best for you. And skin is individual, and you will always hear the advice that like, oh, you definitely, like, you know, you have to use retinol, or you know, or tretinoin or whatever. It's the gold standard. You have to use this. I know when I first started really getting into well aging, just prior to me going on tretinoin, everybody was saying you need to use vitamin C. It was just like the generic advice that was always being like given on social media. And like my skin doesn't love vitamin C. I had a real struggle with that because everyone was telling me to do it and it wasn't working for me. But everybody was saying that it's what makes the difference, right? And so I think kind of the same thing here with tretinoin. Like I said, I was doing okay on it. And if I wasn't running this channel and trying a lot more skincare products than I think the average person does, right? I put my skin through a lot. Tretinoin was not a match for that type of skincare lifestyle, truly. It really wasn't. And I actually feel like, in a way, it was a blessing for me to stop it. Like I said, my original intent was because of what I just told you, but I think ultimately it ended up being a blessing because I'm actually doing better with that adapalene, that novel version of adapalene and that Paula's Choice. That seems to be that little bit of an edge that has taken down so much of my congestion and inflammation. And there's probably a whole holistic kind of a thing. A lot of things went into why I'm breaking out less now than I was at the beginning of the year. Lifestyle, changes might have played into it as well. But I guess I just really want to like drive home the lesson that everybody can be saying this is what you need to be doing, and it may not be a fit for your skin, and that is okay. It may not be the best for you, and it doesn't mean you're a failure, and it doesn't mean like, what's wrong with me? Why can't I make this work? Some folks do really good on the strongest and highest percentage, and some folks don't. And I feel like that's really where I landed with this journey, and the lesson is just like, just don't lean into the biggest and the highest and the most. It's not always the best. And for me, I really kind of spread out those actives, right, in my routine. And that's where I really saw the results. Stratia Lipid Gold and the Ordinary Bee Oil. I'm just gonna do 2 pumps of Lipid Gold and mix in about 3 drops of the oil. Something else I learned is to keep my mind open. As I mentioned earlier, I sometimes have a difficult relationship with AHA, particularly glycolic acid, which is a little bit more potent version of different AHAs that are out there, like lactic and mandelic are much gentler. Glycolic has always kind of been tough for me to tolerate on my sensitive skin. But since stopping tretinoin, and also learning a lot more about balancing and cycling through actives and everything and barrier care, I am having so much success with glycolic acid. I use the Dr. Idris Major Fade Flash Mask, which I showed you in my last nighttime routine, that has quite a bit of glycolic acid in it. I use it about once a week. I do still approach it with caution, but it has really helped on that journey for brightening the hyperpigmentation and, of course, course, helping with texture as well. So that really taught me, some things that have not worked for me in the past may still be worth considering in the future, depending on, where you're at in your journey. But I'm really glad that I gave AHA another shot, because now it's like, it's doing so much for my skin. And, I will also say, I kind of mentioned it earlier when I was talking about wins, but like everything is connected. Like I was saying, if I didn't get those breakouts and that inflammation under control, I would still be getting a lot of new hyperpigmentation on my skin. And while I may see success fading the older marks, it's hard to really feel successful and see success in the mirror when there's a lot of new hyperpigmentation popping up. So I just kind of wanted to mention that one again, because your goals with your skin may be interconnected like mine were. And I kind of intellectually knew that, but like in practice, changing things up really made it so more obvious to me. Getting the breakouts under control first and foremost is what really skyrocketed, my results this year. And I also want to talk a little bit about confidence, because I can't just talk about skin. I have to talk about that journey, that happens with skincare, because skincare for me is a lot deeper than just skin deep, right? I will say that like through this journey, especially with clearing up my skin a lot more this year, I did struggle a bit with confidence, because like, look, you have to have a very thick skin to show up on camera with literally nothing on your face, right? You do. And I've been doing it for years, and I sometimes show up and I don't feel good about myself, but I still show up. You know what I'm saying? Because I think that that is important. However, I definitely did have a moment in time this year where I was just feeling not as confident in my skin. And, I will say, like, to myself, go touch some grass. And I mean that with a lot of love in my heart. Like, go outside, plant your feet on the literal ground, ground yourself in reality, and get off of social media. Get off of YouTube, get off of Instagram, get off the TikTok. What we see is not reality, right? And so I have to remind myself of that every now and then. It is something that is important, because I know that I'm not the only one who struggles with this. It's like, it's hard when you see people with like no pores on their skin, you're just, pores, they don't go away. And I see so many professionals talking about people coming into them and asking like for poreless filtered skin. And they're like, that's not real. But like, it's hard for us to really see that and understand that. And so one of my lessons was just kind of remind yourself to root yourself in reality. Being in this whole skincare game, it can be a little trippy. You really do need to touch some grass with love in your heart. I say this with love in my heart. Just, come back to the real world. Social media is not always the realest thing out there. And it's not necessarily showing us real skin. All right, and then I'm going in for the La Roche-Posay Lipikar Triple Repair Moisturizing Cream. And this whole routine is like, she thick. I must feel really good about getting my congestion down, because I'm using some really rich products. But I have to tell you, my skin is so dry. It is so dry. And I don't always use this moisturizer, because I have said in the past that it does sometimes give me some congestion. So I am tempting fate a little bit, but I have to say my dryness is overriding my desire for less congestion on my skin. So this is something that I've been doing a few nights a week just to really amp up the moisture and the protection, and that just feels so good. I do have one more thing that I want to share as far as lessons that I learned on my skincare journey this year. And it is really about how holistic well-aging is. And I turned 36 this year, and some of you guys are so lovely. You're always like, no, you seem so much younger. Like, you look so much younger than that. And that's super flattering. It's definitely not a goal of mine to look like I'm still in my 20s, but like, if I do look like that, I'm happy. I feel like I spent a lot of my 20s trying to appear more mature so that I'd be taken seriously, like in the workplace, right? And now that I am in my mid 30s, I'm kind of like, I don't mind being mistaken for younger, but I have to say, I love being like, I really love this age. I really do. And it definitely has come with its own challenges. And, the knees aren't what they used to be. For sure, for sure. But I have to say, I really like this era of my life for sure. But that's not really what I wanted to talk about. What I wanted to talk about was well aging. And I wanted to talk about, because I've been thinking about this a lot, right? I've been thinking about how well aging is just so much more than what we put on our face. And I would say, I talked a lot today about the retinaldehyde journey, you know what I mean? And that is a very important skincare active for me. And I think it has done a lot to keep this like smooth and firm. And I've been using all my peptides and all of that too. And I really do think that a smart, strategic skincare routine can really help your skin and your well aging routine. Don't get me wrong here, and I have a lot of resources on my channel about that, and I will continue to make more. However, my biggest glow up, you know what I mean, this year was internal. And that glow up, I think, is what you see. It's that energy, right? It's that vibe. And I think that's what people respond so much to. And it's just like, you look amazing, right? And like, thank you. It's coming from the inside. It's about how I treat my body. It's about how I treat my mind and my soul. It's about how everything comes together. It's not just about slathering my skin and lots of moisture and the right creams and the right products, but it's about how I take care of myself as a person, my self care, my mental health care, right? Um, Following what lights me up, taking care of my physical body, taking care of my nutrition, um, aging well, right? Because I know I'm getting older. I'm not fighting that. I actually like getting older. But it is a whole package, right? We are a whole package. And so I think the biggest lesson, like it's always been something I've known, it's a holistic thing, right? But I think the biggest glow up for me personally was, like I said, it was an inside out type of a thing. And it was more holistic than just what I put onto my skin. And I just really want to emphasize that because I know some people use all the right products. You know what I mean? And they follow all the right advice and they avoid the sun and they wear all the hats and all of that, right? And they do everything right and they still don't feel like they're aging well. And age is so much more than just our appearance, you know? So just don't forget that part. Wherever you are on your journey, your well aging is going to look different depending on the season of life that you're in. But just don't forget that, products only go skin deep. And so we have to kind of work from the inside out and however you interpret that. Incorporate that right into your journey so that you can have your glow up from the inside out. Speaking of glow, do you love the glazed donut status? I do. This is such a great glow, but also a fantastic layer of moisture. My skin feels so nourished and comfortable. I would love to know your wins and lessons in your skincare journey from this year. Let me know in the comments below. And I really do hope that you enjoyed this video, kind of relaxing back with me. I love hanging out with you, and I'm really enjoying spending a little bit more time having these types of conversations with you. It is really something that fills my heart up quite a bit. So I hope that you have a fantastic night, day, wherever you are in the world. I love you so much. Thanks for being here with me today, and I do hope that you are healthy, happy, and safe. I'll talk to you soon.